All right. Aquarius, what are you up to? Okay, so we have the High Priestess coming up as the underlying energy. Now, I'm going to say this straight. The High Priestess, secrets. The Seven of Swords, secrets. What is secret? The thing is, when these kinds of energies come up, like, why would they come up and say there's a secret? I always feel that when it shows that there's secrets, it's because the secrets are coming out or they're about to be revealed, right? So this is your underlying energy. So this is the energy of this week. And yeah, it might feel like that. It might feel like you're tapping into your intuition, you know, your gut instinct. It's very passive energy. In fact, there is very passive energy here. And there is this kind of shifting and moving forward energy, but it feels all internal. And, you know, some people look at that and think, oh my God, that's boring. But trust me, when this kind of stuff happens, it prepares you. First, the change happens internally, then it rolls out externally, right? The other thing with the High Priestess is whatever your instinct is, your gut feeling, your instinct, trust it. That's why she comes up in your reading. You know, people always say that yes, it's meant to be secretive energy, but it's not like this. It's not like someone lying. This is a lie, cheat, deception card, right? It's not that kind of energy. This is more, she has knowledge. The High Priestess has knowledge, but she's got her eyes closed. She's looking at the book and she's happy to share it though. That's the whole thing. She says you can have that knowledge by trusting your intuition. You tap into it through your intuition. And I'm seeing this big moon here, like it's sticking out to me. So this could be to do with the last lunar eclipse, but something that you've received, some understanding that you've had, some things come through now that's helping you understand what's going on. And it may be to do with the relationship. And you know what? I've had so many readings from Aquarians recently where they're asking about relationships and really sheepishly, like Aquarians always do this. They come forward, and I've done it myself actually in the past, where you go to a reader to get a reading and you say, I know I usually ask about work or, you know, whatever, but I'd like to ask about relationships, but really sheepishly because, you know, it's not something that we're used to doing. We're always kind of focused on what can I do and what the rest of it. Not saying that we don't want relationships or love lives, right? But it has become more prominent in our lives than it would, right? We've had bloody eclipses in our own sign where we are, and our 7th house, you know, how we relate to other people. So this is very much about that. And I'm going to say this, I kind of get the impression with the High Priestess and 7th, this is about how much you reveal to people, how much you show of yourself. How much do you show of yourself? This is like a running theme with Aquarius, you know. I'm just going to talk personally. I don't want to kind of judge anyone, but I've done that so often. I do that. Earlier this year, I was doing that last eclipse season. That's what my last 6 months have been about. That no one sees me, no one understands me. But then I was like, hang on a second, Jay, how much do you actually show of yourself? Could be themes like that coming up. So we have the 6 of Swords coming up at the heart of this. This is moving on from something. You know, moving away from the difficult times, moving towards something else. Now, it's interesting to me that, you know, this bow, if you have a look at it, is moving away from the High Priestess towards the 2 of Cups. She's very passive. Forget the secret element of her and the intuition and stuff. She doesn't actually take any action. She doesn't actually do anything. And that might be the point, that, you know, you're moving away from this all-knowing, you know, all-seeing kind of energy, excuse me, towards this more connecting with someone else kind of energy. Now, let's just talk about this. That's just the top row. But if I go to this card on its own, this is the foundation. The 2 of Cups as the foundation of your reading, as the past energy, that could be last week, last month, last year, is to do with a connection that was there. Now, this could be connections in general, you know, the people that you connect with, that you have in your inner circle, you know, who do you connect with? This card on its own, the very kind of basic energy of this card is a profound, deep connection. Someone who has the same cup as you. Because we start off with the ace, right? That's your cup. Whatever you have in your cup, you take it. That's why I would say it's so important when you start off with the Ace of Cups. What have you got in your cup? You know, love, unconditional love, happiness, joy, whatever it is, because you're going to find someone who matches that cup in the 2 of Cups. So there's someone who has the same cup as you. So you might be thinking back to a time when you connected with someone like that, and that could be a friend, a lover, a family member, someone that connection cannot be doubted. This is purely emotional. Now, for some of you, and this plays out in a number of ways. Let's have a look. So we have the 2 of Cups here. How does this play out? Well, we have the 2 of Pentacles in the present. So it's gone from this very emotional connection to very practical connection. You're looking at the details, weighing up the pros and cons. God, Aquarius, I really hope for some of you, you know what it is. It just kind of struck me. And, you know, if I see it, I have to say it. There was an emotional connection. And what some of you are doing is turning it into, oh, yeah, you know, that's cool. We could work together. We could do this. And it's like, Aquarius, I think you feel a little bit more for this person than just practical, because this is very kind of willing, not looking back at the sea. Look at his face. He's like, no, I'm good. I'm good up on one leg with 2 pentacles. Like, la, la, la. I don't see this. Someone's doing that. I don't know if that's just one person and that message is for you, but, you know, I understand. But, you know, we have the High Priestess here. You cannot deny what that connection means to you. For others of you, you don't have a connection like this. There might have been a previous one, someone that you broke up with in the past, or friends even, right, that you connected with in the past. But now you've kind of turned it more into this. You're going to weigh up the pros and cons. You're going to look at the details. What is this person practically like in my life? You know, what role do they play? And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing, you know, and I don't believe in good or bad anyway, but, you know, it's not wrong to try to look at how they practically fit in. We aren't the most practical people when it comes to relationships. You know, we can be friends with the oddest people because we get something out of it. Only we know, right, what we get out of that situation. But it kind of feels like you're moving away from how you did things to a new way of doing things. And you might just be testing things out. That's what's kind of going on here. You're testing things out. Now, what kind of gets me about this is that, you know, this card tells you to put down one of the pentacles. Don't juggle. You know, you're weighing up too many options. Put down one and turn around and have a look at the bigger picture. Look at the bigger picture. Don't get so focused in on the details. You know, sometimes it serves us to look at the details. Sometimes it's, no, we need to step back. Where is this going? You know, how is it part of our journey? How is it part of where we're headed to? And that could be to do with work. That could be to do with a relationship. This is about relationships, though. How we relate to others. Now, that can be colleagues and stuff, but it's very personal reading. Start off with the High Priestess. That's you. What you know, how you feel, what you're doing. That kind of energy. The Journey card. Some of you might be considering travel, you know, at a very mundane level. Somebody might have met someone and they were planning to go traveling and now they're not sure whether... That's the weighing up, right? Deciding what to do. Whether do I stay and not risk, right, but explore this more, or do I go forward and do the practical thing more? Because this person's weighing up the options, not looking out to see where the boats are, right? Where this person's going. Now, what happens? What comes out of this? We have the Page of Pentacles coming up. And the Page of Pentacles is... Pages for me are like aces, right? I always see them as aces. Because they are like beginnings. They're lesser energy than the aces, but very similar because they bring in offers, you know, beginnings of something. And the page is something very practical, something very small. It starts off with something small. But see, it can only begin, Aquarius, once one of these pentacles gets put down. This guy only has 1 pentacle. It actually has more value. Just the one that's more valuable to you. It's asking you to hold on to that. That's the one that you can build into something big. Now, whether that's you being... too many friends in your life, too many people in your inner circle, you've been trying to dating different people, or you've been trying to include everyone in the workspace. No, it's asking you to kind of, it's like a paring down of the people. This is about relationships. Doesn't surprise me, guys. Think about it. We have that. Solar eclipse coming up in our 7th house. Now, look at the 7 of Swords there. That's your advice, guys. That's your advice. And have a look. It's almost as if person looks that, and he's sneaking away, but he's kind of looking at the Page of Pentacles as he goes. 7 of Swords, and I don't think the 7 of Swords is telling you to lie or cheat, right? Obviously not. But it's being very careful about that. If you are going to cut people out of your lives, I'm just going to say this. If you are going to do this, then please just be straight up with them. And usually Aquarius would be. I mean, I spent 45 minutes once talking to someone who I was telling them I didn't want to be their friend anymore. I will always do that. I will always talk to people, explain that this is the situation. I don't think it serves either of us to be, because I don't ever want anyone coming back in my life. When I want that closure, I want that closure, you know, done deal. So I will always talk it through. But this is, I don't think it's that. I think this is saying that this is a risk. This card talks about risks. It's about doing things in secret. And it's almost as if he doesn't want to take a risk with this. This kind of page seems to be offering a pentagon. He's like, I don't know if I want to do that. So he's kind of sneaking away. It's like whether you want to take a risk or not. Why does it feel like a risk though? I get it. I absolutely get it. I mean, I said, why does it feel like a risk? That's the thing with Aquarius. Sometimes you'll find it's much easier to be in a group of people than it is connecting one-on-one with someone. Or it's much easier to connect to the collective, right, than it is to be in a partnership with one person. But that's kind of our energy, and that's difficult for some people to understand. How can you show so much love? I mean, look at me. You know, I have massive amounts of love that I give in my readings and on Instagram, social media, and that's truly how I feel. You know, I truly express my love for everyone. But then when it comes to one-on-one, you know, sometimes I can be a little cold and distant. That's just because, you know, it means so much. I don't take relationships lightly. And that's what's going on here with you guys. You don't take it lightly. That's why you're weighing up the pros and cons. And there is a possibility to build something here, you know, to have this beautiful, something that lasts long term, that brings you stability and security in your life. But it's whether you want to take the risk or not. Yeah, see, that's a decision. You don't want to make a decision. I get it, guys. I get it. And you know what? There's this kind of notion that, you know, especially because I do general readings, and I get it. Some of us want general readings. I mean, I do general readings, right? I don't focus just on love, but that's just it. There are relationships in every walk of life, every walk, you know, whether we want to, a business partnership, work, even we're forced to work with people in life. And it's not even forced to. We're social creatures. We're not here to be alone. We're not here to be alone. But this kind of feels like an intimate connection, like going deeper, looking at the details, right? Weighing up the pros and cons. But guys, I mean, so for some of you, even if it is a business contract or something like that you're trying to weigh up or work, at the end of the day, it's still going to be, do you connect with that person? And there is a connection. There's a connection here. What's this connection? Are you comparing this connection to this connection? Are you trying to turn this connection into that? I mean, you'll have to let me know, because it's going to play out, the energies play out differently for everyone. But look, you have another 2. How many bloody 2s can someone get in their reading? So you have 3 2s here. It is all about connections. Emotional ones. Practical ones. This is the swords are thoughts. Our thoughts are beliefs or ideas, and how we communicate them, right? But have a look at her. I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to have to make a decision. I will keep the status quo. And it's 2 conflicting ideas. Now, Aquarius as a sign is not afraid of a good argument. You know, debating, exchanging ideas. So this has to be something deeper than that. What are you not saying, Aquarius? And that's how I've been receiving the 2 of Swords this time. It's not so much, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want it coming into me. But it's more like, I don't want to reveal it. Why am I saying that? Secrets, right? This is what the 2 of Swords are saying to me as well. What do you not want to reveal? What are you afraid to say? What are you afraid to acknowledge? Because trust me, in that acknowledgement, that's how you move forward. That is how you move forward. That's what helps you to get over this risk. For some of you, it's always that. For human beings, I mean, I probably could say this in every single reading. Once bitten, twice shy. So you had this connection before, and it's like, I don't know if I want to do that again. But you have the 4 of Wands. It's like you have a solid foundation, Aquarius. But where are you going to take it? Where are you taking this foundation? This can be changing the energy around you in that the groups that you hang out with, people that support your creativity, right? And your passions. So there's that harmonious environment around you. That's what the 4 of Wands is. You get that, you celebrate it, and then you move forward, commit. You know, that's why this can sometimes indicate a house move or a job move. Because that's more supportive of your, that environment's more supportive of your creativity. But guys, that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. Are you willing to take the risk? You've got everything in place. That's what it comes down to in and of itself. You're going to let it in. Forgiveness. Nothing can be gained by holding on to past disappointments. That's interesting. Is that it? Is that what it is? I mean, is there a relationship that you're in, whether it's a friendship, a partnership, whatever, where you felt you had that type bond, and it's all of a sudden turned into this? Like, the practical side of it, because someone did something that hurt you. And that would make sense. You don't want to take that risk again, right? You don't want to allow it in. But forgiveness is never for that other person. And, sometimes we can meet someone and they remind us. They remind us of an ex. They remind us of an old friend that we had that hurt us, right? And it's not even the person's fault that's in front of us. It's because we've not been able to forgive that person from the past. And so it makes us reluctant to get involved because we don't want the same thing to happen again. But they're not the same person. They're not the same person. And sometimes the forgiveness isn't even for other people. It's about forgiving ourselves and knowing that we'll do better this time. We have the knowledge. The knowledge is here. So you can take the risk. You don't have to trust the other person. You don't have to trust the situation. You can trust yourself. Trust that you will know what to do in the situation. That you can build something solid. And start off small, right? The Page and the Knight of Pentacles, they're all about starting off small, taking small steps. This is about going, close the distance between yourself and what you love. You move away from whatever happened in the Five of Swords, which was the conflict. And you move towards the next step, which is the Seven of Swords. So when you get to the other side, wherever they're headed, when they get there, then it's like, whoa, hang on a second. Did I really want to do this? Am I going to take this risk? And that's what this talks about. All right, let's get you one from the Wisdom of the Oracle. Yeah, because Aquarians are known for how flexible we are, right? Right, so we have flexible coming up. Now, what flexible says is, you don't have to compromise everything about yourself. That's not what flexible says. It is about being flexible, but it's about knowing what's the deal breaker for you. What is a deal breaker? And it's about establishing that and then being flexible on everything else. It's like being the oak tree, the mighty oak tree, right? It has its roots firmly like in the ground. So even when a storm comes and hits it, it knows what's important to it. Now, for a lot of Aquarians, that's their relationships. Their relationships keep them grounded. I actually said this to someone the other day. I've asked this to a few Aquarians, actually. There are some Aquarians that are out there trying to make connections, do all that. And there are some that are just hermit moding it. They're like, I'm done. They're hermit moding it. And I've been saying this to a few Aquarians that, you guys are sleeping on the job, the hermit moding ones. And they were like, what do you mean we're sleeping on the job? I get it. We all need time to ourselves, right? But this is the opportunity to connect, guys, to figure out what the hell's actually going on with our relationships. If we want deeper, meaningful relationship, it's fine. If you want to spend the rest of your life alone, which no one really wants to, you might feel like that right now. You might feel like that right now because she's kind of a solo energy. And, but don't forget, you're moving away from that. You're moving away from that. That's why these things are coming up. And I get it. There's this kind of reluctance to get back out there. Like I said, once bitten, twice shy, right? But you're not going to make the same mistakes again. And you are like that oak tree. You're firmly rooted now. Whatever happened before, whatever's been going on, it's helped you to become that mighty oak. You can't be just toppled over by whatever happens. It's about believing that. And remember, whatever is in your cup, that is what will be matched by the other person's cup. And you have some amazing cups out there. Come on, Aquarius. It says, Dearest Jude, there are times you get lost but refuse to see your part in things. Happens to everyone. Something feels familiar but sort of off. If you're feeling confused, it's best to throw away that map you're using, which only lets you navigate based on your past experiences. That isn't what you need right now. And this is kind of what your reading's saying, right? Instead, take a deep breath and open to the truth. A desire to stay in denial, right, means that part of you doesn't want to be responsible for the pattern that's shown up in your life. Yes, this is the right time to wake up and start again. By the way, you will always get another chance. You have unlimited chances to start again. We love you so much. We really do. Be gentle with yourself. Coming out of denial is like being temporarily blinded by super bright lights. Allow your eyes to adjust. Carry on, special one. A beautiful life awaits. Loving you so, so much. And it is that, right? That's the whole point of the journey card. It's an internal journey, or it can be like an external one, but you're moving away from one place to another, and it's never easy, right? It's never easy. And you're going to have moments where you think, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't want to deal with this. Especially when you've overcome so much. It's like, seriously, I'm going back in that boxing ring for another round. Yeah, feels like you are, guys. Feels like you are. But, that's where we have to be flexible. And you're not going to do the same thing. You're throwing away the old map. You're throwing away the old map. You're connecting differently with people. You're a different person. So why would your connections not be different? Your cup is different now. What you bring to any situation is different. So what you get out of it will be different, right? And you ultimately decide what you commit to, what you allow in, and how you move forward on that.